what is going on, guys? My name is Cyclone and I'm bringing you some hardpoint gameplay from one of the latest DLC maps that just came out recently. I think it is called Berserk, I'm not too sure, but today I wanted to talk to you guys about the military, something a little different from my channel for all those people thinking about joining the military. So I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of the military. I made a list of all the pros and cons as well, and after every pro I talk about and after every con, I'm going to serve an explanation as to why I think that. So keep in mind, everything that I say is going to be opinionated based. Some stuff that I talk about are going to be facts that do happen, but I will give my opinion as to why I do or do not like it. So just keep that in mind the whole time. Also, a little background on myself, I guess. I am in the military. I have been serving for 2.5 years now. I know that is not a very long time, but it is enough time to experience the military as a whole, and I guess give you guys some good pros and cons of it, like I said. So I want to give you guys some good knowledge about the real army and what it really does and what really happens and all that good stuff, not the commercials that you see and all that crazy stuff. But yeah, man, so everything about this is about the army. I really don't know much about other branches. They might be the same, they might be different. I really have no idea, but I'm going to be talking about the army for the most part and what happens on a daily basis. So without further ado, here we go. Alright, so we'll start off with the pros first, because it's always good to start off with good news, man. No one wants to start off with some bad news. So here we go. First pro, you have a secure income. Now this is one thing that gets a lot of older people that have families and that have kids and wives, that the income is very stable. You will have a check guaranteed the 1st and the 15th of every month, and that is something that really intrigues a lot of people, that keeps them safe and get that security, that job security. Nobody wants to not wake up tomorrow and be like, yo, you're fired, this happened, we can't hire you no more, you're laid off. No one wants that. So they love the job security, and that's one of the pros of it. You're always going to have that job security. You don't got to worry about you getting fired the day of tomorrow. As long as you do what you have to do in the military and not get in trouble, you got nothing to worry about, and you will have that job security. So the second pro is one of my opinions, and is that that's the only job you need. You don't need any other job. You don't need to find a second job. You don't need to find a third job. The military is the only job that you need to do to keep a good source of income for you and your family and not have to worry about anything else. Yeah, people might say you don't get paid a lot. I even say that we don't get paid a lot, but the truth is sometimes we got benefits that others don't have, and we don't really pay much for it. So that kind of overcomes the other stuff that people talk down about, the money and stuff like that. But that's always a good thing, man, to only have one job and not worry about having another job or having multiple jobs to take care of your family. So the third pro I have for you guys is meeting new people, man. Meeting new people is probably one of the funnest and coolest things about being in the military. You meet so many different type of people, it's ridiculous, man. It's really awesome at the same time though, because you meet so much diversity, so much cultural backgrounds, so much stuff you can learn from other people. It's always awesome to network. That's one of my biggest things that I do a lot, is network, and that's also a big opportunity that you have being in the military, networking with people. You never know what the person next to you knows or has been through, or just has knowledge on different stuff that you've always probably wanted to do. So for example, if you wanted to always be in real estate, you never know if the person next to you could be a real estate agent prior to him joining the military. So he might give you some cool information about being real estate. You guys might even become good friends and be partners later on. Like, it's all different, man. You meet so much different personalities and different people that it's always cool, and that's one of the biggest pros that I like, and that's one of my favorites. So the fourth pro I have for you guys is basically for the non-married people in the army, in the military in general. If you're not married, you're single. So the single people, if you're single, you get fed 3 times a day by the defact, and that's basically the dining facility. Every day there's 3 meals a day. You got your breakfast, you got your lunch, and you got your dinner. You never have to worry about not being fed or not having money to pay for anything, because you have food fed to you. Granted, it's not the best food. I mean, you always hear jokes and stuff about the army food, and it's not the best. I'll admit it's not really that good, but you can't complain, man. You get fed 3 times a day, and they make sure you don't starve. Now, if you don't eat there, that's on you. That's on you. But for the most part, you're always gonna get fed. They do take a small amount of money away from your check for the defact to pay for it, but I mean, in the end, you get 3 meals a day, no questions asked. So that's pretty cool. That's one of the things that you don't have to worry about living in the barracks as well. The next pro I have for you guys is basically for the married soldiers. You get what is called BAH. BAH is basic allowance for housing, and it's basically your rent money. You use that to pay your rent, and the army gives it to you. It's pretty awesome. They give it to you on top of your check, so you have no excuse to not pay for your rent that month. And that takes a lot of stress away from a lot of people, because there is some people out there that cannot unfortunately pay their rent every month because they have different numbers of, like, they have different checks every month, and it's not the same steady check that they get every single time. So you getting that BAH just automatically relieves a lot of stress, and that's something that's really cool about the military. It's almost basically free housing because they just pay for it for you, and it's pretty awesome. But that is only if you choose to live off base. Some people want to live on the base, so they have free housing for you to live on base. If you choose to live on base, you will not get BAH, but you'll get your regular check, but you won't get the BAH on top of it. But you don't need to worry about it because you don't pay anything for that housing, man. Like, it's basically free to live on post. You don't gotta pay anything, maybe like an electric bill or something, but even then it's not even that high. You don't pay no rent or nothing because you're living on the base, which is pretty awesome. Some people choose to live on base, some people choose to live off. Personally, it just depends wherever you live. Some houses on base are really outdated and they're pretty old, so a lot of people don't like that stuff right there. But if that fits for you, that fits for you, man. Like, it's whatever, your choice. It's pretty cool. You get to live on or off base. The next part I have for you guys is education. Education is a big part of some people's life, and it's probably some of the reasons why people just join the military, to get that free education. And you can't complain, man. The military gives you so much education benefits, it's insane. Like, you'd be a fool not to use that to your advantage. There's so much classes you could take on in the military that will help you out. When you get out of the military, you get so much qualifications. Most of them are all free, and that's the amazing part. Most certifications that you want to get are basically all free, and they will help out totally. Like, they will help out so much out in the civilian world. And also, that you could go to school and use your TA, which is tuition assistance. You could go to school for free using that, not even touching your GI Bill. That's another thing you get also in the military, your GI Bill. Once you get out, you get your GI Bill. But during the military, you get to use your TA, your tuition assistance. They basically pay for your tuition so you could go to school and keep passing your classes. As long as you pass your classes, you'll get that TA and you'll be getting that degree in no time, man. There's no excuse for you not to use the education system that the military offers for you. And that's pretty big for some people, and that's pretty awesome. That's one of the biggest pros out there. The next one I'm just going to put all together to conserve time and not make the video longer than it has to be, but one of them is working for 2 or 3 hours and going home. That's probably some of the coolest parts about being in the military, is that sometimes when you have nothing to do, if your bosses are cool enough like that, you'll work for like an hour or two and they'll be like, you know what, go home. And what's cool is that you don't got to worry about getting paid any less than you already do, because no matter what, you're going to be getting that same paycheck you're used to getting every single 2 weeks. So that's always pretty cool, and that's one of the cool things about getting paid salary in general, I guess. Another cool thing that you have is 4-day holiday. So in the military, if you have a holiday, like let's say the 4th of July or something like that, you get 4 days off. So you get Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off, and to enjoy that 4-day weekend with your family. We call those 4 days here in the military, and those are pretty awesome, man. That's a lot of days off so that you could be with your family and just enjoy that beautiful weekend, you know, for whatever holiday that is. The next one we have is those discounts. Obviously, man, you gotta love those discounts. You get those active duty discounts that are pretty amazing. Sometimes they're not that much, don't get me wrong, but nonetheless they're discounts, and they are discounted from what the regular price was, so you gotta be appreciative of that sometimes, you know. So that's all the pros I got for you guys. Next on we go to the negatives, the cons. And the cons, I have a lot. Like I said, some of them are opinionated, but they are pretty strong. So here we go with the cons, man. First con I have for you guys is no overtime. So no matter how many hours you work, there's some days where you'll work 12-hour shifts, or there's some days where you do 13-hour shifts. There will be long days, but no matter what, if you work over 8 or 12 hours, there is no overtime, sadly, man. So you could work 12, 13, 14, 15, even 20 hours, and you'll get no more money than you already got. So that's kind of the downside of it. Another downside is doing PT every single day. Some people do not like it and some people love it. Basically, PT is physical training. You do that every single morning of the day, of the work day, no matter what, at 6:30. You gotta wake up at 5:30 and get ready to go to PT, and that is at 6:30 every morning. And not everybody likes it. Some people find it useful and some people don't find it useful. It's all really up to you and how you think of it. But for me, a con is doing PT every day. The next con we have here is dealing with dumb people every single day, man. There is a lot of dumb people, and this is probably not just only military, but you deal with a lot of dumb people, man, and sometimes those dumb people could get you in trouble, not because of the stuff they did. So there's something called mass punishment. Mass punishment is basically where everyone gets punished for something that one person did. You don't really see that too much in the civilian workplace, but let's say for an example, in the military, someone on the weekend gets drunk and gets caught drunk driving. They will probably call the whole company or the whole team right there in that area that night, no matter what time it is, to go back to work at that time of the day. And that's just, sometimes it's dumb and childish, in my opinion. I don't understand why you can't just punish that person by themselves, because they're their own man, I would assume, or own woman, you know. So it's pretty dumb. The next one I have is sometimes you'll get really horrible leadership, man. Leadership sometimes is one of the worst things about the military. If you don't have good leaders, they make it hell for you. And sometimes, I won't lie, there is some discrimination going on there, but it's very rare. But horrible leaderships nonetheless are pretty bad. It's the same thing like having horrible bosses. If you have a horrible boss, you're really not going to want to go into work. And sometimes a lot of the times there are pretty bad leaders in the military, and they're just going to not make you want to work and just have a really bad time. And that's some of the reasons why a lot of people just leave the military, because they got a horrible leader that they just drove them off the military, and it's just dumb. The next con is you get treated worse than a 5-year-old. Come on, believe it or not, no matter how old you are, you're going to get treated like a 5-year-old sometimes, and it is really dumb, and it frustrates a lot of people, especially if you're the type of person that doesn't like to get talked to like a little kid, or just to get explained to like a childish person, because it's just dumb, man. Some people don't like it. I personally don't like it. I don't like getting talked to like if I'm my child. And like, come on, man. Everyone up here, everyone in the army is 18 plus. They know what they got into. You don't need to treat us like little kids. That's one of the things that bothers me a lot, as you can tell. But it bothers a lot of people as well. And being treated like that is just dumb. And they expect you to act like an adult, but the day you try to do adult stuff, they get mad at you for it. And it's just dumb and pointless. And it really frustrates me a lot of times, man. So another thing is they got what is called CQ. CQ is basically a 24-hour shift where you sit down in a desk and supposedly guard a building, what is called barracks, where all the single soldiers live. You do that for 24 hours, literally 24 hours from 9 to 9. And it's horrible, man. It's pointless, and you really do not do nothing there besides sit on a desk on your phone for literally most of the time and guard this building, which really doesn't need to be guarded because nobody wants to go there. So that's one of the dumb stuff that is. And so depending on the unit you go to, one of the cons is going to the field a lot. That is basically when you leave out to go train for 2, 3, 4, sometimes even 5 weeks at a time. You go away, you stay away from home, and what is that guy doing? You stay away from home and you go train out there. You stay out there for 2, 3 weeks at a time, and that's sometimes it sucks, man, because being away from family like that, it's really not cool. Not a lot of people like it. That is one of my cons. Some people do like it, don't get me wrong, but like I said, this is all opinionated, and this is my opinion. I do not like going to the field, so it's a con for me. The next one is pretty much for the single soldiers who live in the barracks. So if you live in the barracks, sometimes you'll get room inspections, and that's basically what it is, a room inspection. They go and check to see if your room is clean or not, and it goes back to being treated like a kid again. You don't need to check to see if an adult's room is clean or if it's not. Like, they should be clean regardless. Granted, there are some people out there that do not know how to clean after themselves, which is pretty sad, but it's just dumb that they have to go and check. Like, another grown man has to go check another grown man's room to make sure it's clean. I know it's government property and they gotta keep tabs on it, but still, like, they're grown people and they have roommates as well. So I'm pretty sure their roommate is gonna tell them to clean the room at some point if they do not clean the room. So it's just one of those things where it's dumb and childish. And finally, the last two ones I have is being away from family and missing family events. Probably one of the worst cons in this list, because no one likes to miss family events and no one likes being away from family in general. That is something you're gonna have to deal with in the military a lot. You're gonna miss a lot of birthdays, you're gonna miss a lot of special events because you're probably either deployed or you're out in the field, and that's just something that they do tell you that before you sign up. But it's hard to accept, you know. It sucks being away from family. Like I said, no one likes being away from family, but it is part of the job, and that's a con. That's still a con, man. Being away from family is no joke. Some people can't handle it, some people can, but ultimately, sometimes that's one of the things that cause people to leave the military, is that it ends up breaking away their family. They get a lot of divorces and stuff because he's not home, he's always working, he's always out there. So that is one of the bigger drawbacks of being in the military and one of the bigger cons, in my opinion. So that's it for the pros and cons, guys. I know this video was kind of long, but I felt like I had to give you guys that inside information about the Army, and hopefully I gave a good even amount of pros and cons, and I gave some good insight about what the military is like for those of you joining. Like I said before, if you guys want me to make like a basic training video, pro tip or something like that, feel free to comment below and let me know. I am more than happy to make something like that for you guys. I just wanted to give you guys a good inside knowledge about what the military really is like and what you could expect out of it. I hope you guys enjoyed that video right there, man. If you really did and it was somewhat useful and it helped you in some kind of way, please make sure to give it a like. And if you like what you saw too, please consider subscribing, man. I post weekly videos of different topics, and share this video too with your friends and family, whoever want to join the military. That way they could get some inside knowledge. And if you are in the military and you kind of disagree with some of the points I said, go ahead and feel free to comment. I'll reply to every one of my comments. I love always being up for debate and discussion out there. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day as well as the rest of the week, and I will see you guys next week. Peace.